In a NewsNation exclusive, we gather a group of veterans in the Nevada desert who all believe they were exposed to radiation during classified missions near Area 51 in the mid-'80s to early '90s. Their work was so top secret, the Department of Defense still won't acknowledge their service in the desert. And they say that's a big problem. NewsNation's Natasha Zouves was the first to break the story and went to the Las Vegas desert as these veterans are getting sick and pleading for the government to help.
They keep us classified to protect themselves.
A group of Air Force veterans and a DOD contractor say they have been sickened, even disfigured, after being stationed in the desert in the mid-'80s to early '90s.
Did you have any idea what you were being exposed to?
None. None of us knew.
These veterans say they served at the Nevada Test and Training Range, which encompasses the infamous Area 51, a remote spot that hosted nuclear testing both underground and atmospheric. Since the 1950s, their work so secret there would be no record that the men ever served in the windswept desert.
It was the technology behind it. That's what we were there to make sure nobody got.
They still can't talk about most of their work on the range, but the one mission they can now disclose, guarding the F-117 Nighthawk, America's first stealth bomber.
We ended the Cold War, truly.
Oh, wow. The story begins with a reunion barbecue back in 2016 at veteran Dave Crete's Las Vegas home. Air Force buddies who hadn't seen each other in decades make a startling discovery.
So I asked the guys, we're just sitting around drinking beers. I said, you guys, I got this lump on my back. And I don't know, has anybody else got that?
I said, yeah, I had one of those. I had it removed. It was the size of a grapefruit.
6 out of the 8 vets had benign tumors called lipomas. The 7th said, I don't have any, but my son was born with one.
It just kind of confirmed it. There was an issue. Where we were, that's the one common denominator, is we were all there.
A DOD contractor who worked at the base at the same time as these vets sickened.
Yeah, they took his teeth out first because they had to scrape out a lot of cancer.
They had to scrape out a lot of cancer.
2 cancers, 80% of his tongue removed along with his vocal cords, all of his teeth. He lives on a feeding tube. The veterans tell NewsNation their medical claims are being denied by Veterans Affairs. The work's so top secret, their records are what's called data masked, as if they were never there.
It's like a kick in the gut. It's just a matter of betrayal.
After learning of the serious health conditions his Air Force brothers were suffering from, Dave did some research on the Nevada test site. Hundreds of nuclear weapons tests were conducted in the area from the 50s until the early 90s. In the 1970s, the government began exploring the idea of building a military installation there to house classified projects. A 1975 Department of Defense environmental report of the area acknowledges nuclear contamination, depleted uranium, beryllium, and plutonium present before the men were sent by the government to the range. But the report says, quote, discontinuing the work done would be against the national interest.
It's one thing to be ignorant, or to be naive, to not know, but they've understood for a long time.
Dave's discoveries led him to create the Invisible Enemy, an advocacy group where he says he's connected with more than 1,000 veterans who served at the Nevada test site. Hundreds of them report being sick.
We were in the dirt all the time. I can recall the times where when we'd perspire, that our uniforms would turn kind of a yellowish orange.
Our government knew that that area was contaminated. So knowing that, and they willfully put us there, that's given somebody a death sentence.
We did something important. We did good work. We changed things. We don't deserve being ignored by saying we don't exist.
Elizabeth, after the DOD had no comment and the Air Force said they don't have information available for that time frame, NewsNation went to the VA, and the VA told us there's no presumption of exposure for these veterans who served at the range. These vets will need to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis to prove their illness is related to their service. Of course, the vets tell us this is difficult when their data is masked. And time is of the essence, Elizabeth. More than 400 names are already on this memorial list. On Saturday night, we are delving deeper into the ripple effects, the families who are also getting sick. One daughter is exclusively giving NewsNation the photographs and the documents her dying mother worked to declassify after her mom said she knew she was exposed. That's Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern on NewsNation. Elizabeth.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.